You have made the leap, and someone really believed you. A first customer, a small win, a spark of hope. But sparks fade if not nurtured. Did they come for product, or will they stay for the story that you built together? Today, we journey into the art of keeping customers close, delighting them, and turning them into your most powerful storytellers. Welcome to the Bootstrap Banter new episode, where we are exploring on building customers for your life, early stage relationships, and the secrets for every founder that they should know in order to build the co-creators. Well, it is kind of relatable for every founder to define this moment, landing the first few customers, and then, what are the next steps that everybody should take? Will they stay? Will they leave? How you really, you nurture the relationships? Well, before you start deep diving, we first need to really understand the stats that talks about acquiring any new customer costs us around 5x times more than the retaining the existing ones. Where the early age for early stage startups, it's really not just getting the customers, but also keeping them, retaining them, and turning them into evangelists or your co-creators or your co-pilot partners. That's the exact relationship, the customer relationship, why it matters the most, how to do that, and what should be your secret weapons is what we are discussing in today's Bootstrap Banter episode. So, welcome all the bootstrappers. If you are diving in today for this fresh episode and you don't know what we talk about all the bootstrap banters where the early stage founders supposed to get equipped with different tools, technologies. At the same time, what are some of the best secrets or the tips that one should be implementing in their own startup or their passionpreneur journey? And that's the thing that we deep dive in the bootstrap banter. I'm your host, Pranali. Feel free to check out passionatepulse.com where we discuss about a lot of tips when we shell out a lot of workbooks and as well as a lot of events that come through the passionatepulse.com for early stage founders. On other note, you must know about Passionate Pulse podcast is here is the ecosystem that we are building for early stage founders. If you're someone who is looking forward to pursue your idea, validate your idea, or deep dive into the startup journey, and looking for the support where peers like you gather together, discuss in the live forums, you must head to the Passionate Pulse community. Feel free to log on to passionatepulse.com, and there is a small form out there that talks about join our bootstrappers WhatsApp community where each and every founder is looking forward to get tips, share resources, or even discuss certain pain points together. Well, for that, the only qualification is you should be filling out that form. And if you have a startup within you, if you're looking to explore ideas and you're a valid and a legit individual, well, we welcome humans on that particular WhatsApp group. Well, we'll deep dive to this new episode that talks about, building, nurturing the customer relationships and, of course, how you should be scaling up your startup with your own customers. Without a further ado, we'll deep dive into it. But before that, I must add a disclaimer that all this study, all these case studies that I am unfolding on the Bootstrap Banter are something that is, I've first handedly witnessed through our VC world, through our meetup gangs, through a lot of circles that I do with the podcasting, as well as with the podcast guests that I have witnessed first handedly, have talked to them offline, online, and more on their case studies that have emerged from them. And those are the episode case studies that we deep dive into that and exact formulas that we derive for your startup to get succeeded. So that's what the Passionate Pulse is all about. If you're someone having a story of this, early stage startup, a startup, or your startup had scaled up, have raised capital, we would love to know and highlight and focus your studies in our Bootstrap Banter, as well as we can curate you on the podcast to let other founders know that how somebody is pursuing their startup journey, how they're scaling up, how they're raising capitals, and what all it takes to be there at where you are on your success summit. So, if you're looking forward to explore our podcast relationship, feel free to log on to passionatepulse.com/podcast and do fill out the form and let us know what you would like to hear, what you would like to explore with us, or rather, you have a case study to showcase this further for our early stage founder community. We will love to hear you back. If you're looking forward to advertise your startup through any of our podcasting media channels, feel free to log on to passionatepulse.com or just give us a call at 341-209-0102. We are here to understand what you're building, how solid you're building, and what all we can do for your GTM wing. So, the customer relationship definitely is one factor, one ace card that every startup needs to play. And in this AI era as well, I would say going back to the traditional methods can still give you a much larger leap, which we have witnessed prior and even today. That is what is going beyond to scale the startup, to build a product in a right way, and also something that your customers are looking forward from the product so that your startup, your products get furnished in a way where the market is heading to or market is looking forward to have a solution. Well, most of the startups who have actually validated their product and moving forward probably know the problem space to solve, but might be stumbling on ample number of features, that which features to embed in your product line to make it your kind of an USP. There are ways to do that. Of course, you could do tons of research, you could gather tons of reports, polls, surveys that talks about where exactly is a need where your customers are looking forward. In order to package that, you really need to hear out your customers, whether they are stumbling upon the price point or they're just stumbling upon the feature points, and what is the right way to head on. So, the way to get back to that is the customer feedback loop. Your existing customers can be your evangelist, can be your cheerleaders, can also become your further scale up journey partners to complete your workflows, to understand what it takes to build that product on the solidify lines. But you're the one as a startup founder needs to nurture that emotion, needs to build that trust and make the product to the perfection. So, unlike the big companies, I would say early founders not have brand recognition or the market budgets that they're looking forward to spend, you know. But if you have your early customers, those are your growth engines. Absolutely hang on and make your further journey smoother. For that, I can even relate to multiple examples, starting with a wonderful scaled up example of Airbnb. How they really handshake their trust with the host and really move forward. Started with the mattress rental, now looking at how they build the community around it. Their early host, whoever had, raised their hands to become the Airbnb's kind of beta customers or the alpha customers, they nurtured them so well that they even had gone out more than what is required. And today, probably they are hosting certain summits in their own community. But earlier, it used to be a monthly events where they actually gather hosts together under roof. They share a lot of freebies, and even now, they are sharing the freebies. They are sharing a lot of good tips and nurturing and educating their customers who are putting out their houses for the Airbnb or other services for the Airbnb. But apart from that, what I like to highlight is when they were at a very, very early times, founders actually took a toll and went and talked to those. If it is possible, then in person. If it is possible, over the phone, and try to gather their risks, try to gather what were the stumbling blocks because of which their so-called users are not converting. What are the legit gaps that were there in order for someone to rent out their property on online portal. So they did that kind of handshake, which kind of, proven to give them the emotional trust, where, people ultimately landed up showing up with their properties. They found the gain and they kind of completed their workflows from legal matters to even, marketing matters to even building that trust when somebody as a third person is showing up to your home and your property is still how somebody can preserve it. So it's a wonderful story to witness, and the way they build the relationship in the early stages, not just by, talking to users, but listening to them with more heart and open heart, even to understand, where things are going wrong. They were very open to hear out even the critical feedbacks that they were receiving from the users. When I look at this building relationship stories, I also see that the Dropbox founders did the same. In fact, the Dropbox founders talked directly with their first 100 users to refine the product. Can you imagine? It was not just, going with certain forms or raising tickets and understanding from what tickets are, showing up at the end, but actually picking up the calls and talking to real users to understand where it should go. They did not establish any call centers or they did not hire someone who can represent it Dropbox. Rather, they were the first handed founders talking directly to the customers to refine the product over and further. I think, these two things are very key concept in any customer nurture relationship that the early stage founder should be invested and driving their time from. I know as a founder, looking at your product, if you are at the tech side, and building those product can take immense amount of time and a bandwidth that you think can even satisfy building that kind of a product. But how can you build that solidified product if you don't know, on the other hand, what the customers are knocking for? So deliver and delight is a concept that I always talk about. Over deliver in small and human ways can go in a long run if you are building something which is, very early stage startup. A founder sending the handwritten notes to the first 50 customers or without even using the automated email sequence tool and actually sending out that personal touch draft to those 50 users or initial adopters can go a long way. It could also involve talking about how grateful you are to those customers who have been your early stage acquaintance. Or it could also be talking about your progress milestone, like that when you started you were at A stage and now you are at absolute Z stage, and between A to Z the journey evolved because of you, and you have been a co-pilot, and on top of it asking about certain question that will define your product, asking about simple rating that will define your product strength or weaknesses, and that can help you shape your product journey, that can steer your wheels to move it in the right direction. Of course it delights the customer because they're getting you the first handed email from the founders who are building the product, email, phone call, or there are various ways today that you could host even simple live webinar to talk about it. That can also become your online reviews that you can further snip out and add it to your website, add it to your product. But conducting these kind of the live conversations can help you give that intimate moment with your own customers to define where exactly you're falling off, where exactly you need to level up, or where the caliper is needed to shape your product journey. So think about this as a feedback loop and see what all ways that you can incorporate in your early stage startup. I absolutely understand that the bandwidth of the time is most critical way to shape up. Of course, when you're talking to your customers, you simply can't do that on the weekends, but can you do, once a month webinars that talk about it, that, gathers your new customers as well as the existing customers? Can you highlight any of your existing customer stories through all your community efforts that you're doing and also bring them in your live webinars and, help them reveal what they're doing and on top of it, how they're using your product? It could also be a wonderful win win situation that you give it to others with the collaboration by spotlighting someone for the communities that you're building and then also helping others to showcase their product. In a way, it's a way to look at how you nurture the relationship, sending the goodwill away as well as getting the goodwill back. And I think that is, have worked in many a cases. I have personally witnessed couple of startups. In fact, one of them is a 30-year-old a mid-scale company which is a cloud host infrastructure atlantic.net, and they have done that for almost 3 decades, and even today they're doing the same. The customer becomes the first priority whenever any ticket is raised. They are the first one who are actually calling the customers to understand the criticality, and then further on they deep dive and see where the product needs to be mapped, whether the customer needs more hands-on training, and they include all those free credits in their early stage when the people are adopting their softwares or the products for the cloud infrastructure. So I think that is a brilliant idea to do that, even though you are in business and scaling up, having wonderful customers which are going to retain you for next decade or so. But irrespective of the stage of the company, as in the bigger companies as well do the same handshake with the customers. In fact, there are very often that the trend has come, and I'm observing many startups are going beyond the way that where the customer should be onboarded. They do provide training, education. There are constant updates that is going from their end to the customer so that the customer is more equipped to use the particular product, whether it's a tech or a non tech. But I think that comes down to a very handy one. Think about how Notion really made it to this, $1 billion company or trillions of users who are onboarded on Notion today. Of course, with the free tier, they have a big age. But for the free tier, what they are doing is the beta features that they are onboarding, with the beta features that they are onboarding, they're testing it so well. And I think that's where the user feedback is coming into the way. There are a lot of referral ways with which, they are co-partnering with users and shaping their products, of course, adding that open source wing or, making somebody also accountable for the product is, gaining them more users, I would say, more customers, I would say. But this is something that every individual product company, whether it's a SaaS, whether it's a service based, or whether it is a one time kind of a product, you can roll into, because every time when you say that you have built a product, your journey never stops there. It continues to evolve because, as the market grows, as the technology fades in, and then as the technology is advancing, you're supposed to onboard all those features and make it more tech savvy as well as make it more efficient. And that should be the product journey. So, all the time going back and forth with the customers, whether it's through interviews, whether it's through live calls, whether it is, through a simple survey, whether it's simple email that talks about it and gather feedbacks, I think it is worth nurturing that relationship and bringing that delivery mode and delighting your customer at the same time. It should be on your cards, should be reserving in your time bandwidth, and also spending that kind of accurate moments with your customers makes your product more efficient and also brings a lot of trust. So this is what is another story that I would like to talk. When your customers are giving you the inputs and you're shaping the product with that, and you're going back and telling them, hey, thank you for introducing us this particular part, and we really took your feedback into the product, and here is the feature, and you are the first one to test this out, you're the first one to get this for free, as well as you're the first one who will be onboarded on this, and for an year or so these features will be available for you for free of cost. But as a part of, thank you, and a part of, the returning favor. We like to understand your feedback on top of it, how this is working out, and we are ready to extend you some elaborated timelines to use this particular features that can also get you more accountable partners, which are your real users. So, these are the small, small things I think are worth trying out, and, taking your existing customers and turning them into your advocates can build your more of a storytelling, more of your testimonials, and also the referrals. So, the community driven growth, if you're looking forward to lean into that direction, whether it's a SaaS product, non SaaS product, or any other, products, or any other passionpreneur journey that you are on, the customers should become your advocates to move further. The marketing wing only you could open if you have a budget, and you could spend on the other avenues. But holding on to that first beta user, the first pilot user, and making him give you five more customers, I think that's a brilliant way where you can shape your journey, where you can, start building your community. And, this referral stuff, referral candies are not just, the simpler bring a friend type of a thing, but it is more of, how you invested you want to become with them, and that is where things can shape up further. Well, before we dive further and understand some of the case studies, I would like to highlight on the what are some of the common mistakes that certain founders do make, and those are the ones that you should be absolutely avoiding, especially when you are at your early stage journey. Well, what are they? We'll deep dive on that after a short break.
This episode of Passionate Pulse is brought to you by Atlantic.net, the official cloud hosting partner of the San Jose Earthquakes and the trusted choice for startups and developers. Get fast, secure, and compliant cloud hosting, plus free credits and a free 8 GB server for your first year. Use promo code PULSE50 at Atlantic.net while it lasts. Atlantic.net, built for builders, trusted by champions. Running a startup isn't just about scaling your product, it's also about sustaining your energy, clarity, and resilience. The Ageless Evolution Summit brings together wellness experts, thought leaders, and fellow founders to help you recharge, refocus, and evolve personally and professionally on October 10th. Use promo code PULSE30, PULSE 30 to get 30% off on your attendee tickets. If you're building a brand in biotech, medtech, nutrition, Ayurveda, or promoting a healthy lifestyle, you can also use the same code for 30% of discounts on sponsorship tiers. Find a perfect way to make your product visible to a community of change makers, prioritizing wellness alongside the growth. Use promo code PEARLS30 to get 30% off. Reserve your spot and elevate your journey today at agelessevolutionsummit.com, happening on 10th of October. Welcome back to Bootstrap Banter. Today we are discussing about how you want to retain your customers, how you want to turn your customers into your advocates, and how they can become your first evangelist to scale up your startups, to shape up your products, and grow fast and smart. We were discussing prior to the break. There are certain common mistakes that the early stage founders make, and what are those, and how do you avoid them? Well, the first and most common mistake that I have witnessed first-handedly when early stage startups are doing is they're chasing the vanity metrics instead of the real loyalty. You know, I have seen tons of posts that talk about, how great their product is, how much interest that they're gaining, and, certain things and the likes, all about the socials, whether it could be on Twitter, LinkedIn, or other social mediums such as Insta and Facebook as well, depending on what your product is, where your consumer base lying. And those are the metrics that sounds good or looks good on the paper or on the post. However, the real pain point is how loyal your customers are and how many paid users you are actually gathering. So, focusing your shift from getting those likes versus conversion of the customers and building that customer rapport should be the journey that you should be chasing. Like, I have rarely seen very few startups talking about
that they have certain customers and they have been loyal with them for certain number of years. I think that will change the perspective. And then you highlighting about that customer's journey, talking about what they do, how they are incorporating your product on all your visible mediums where your community is gathering. I think that will bring more on the real loyal base, or that brings that much of an emotional trust that certain users are looking forward to validate. And there is no escape, or there is no ace card that you would play other than that. So stop chasing the vanity metrics, at least in the beginning phase, where these things just look good but not converting. So look forward how you can convert, and there are simple marketing ways with which you could actually do that. You don't need to be very fancy, you don't need to bring up or create certain AI videos that will talk about your product and case studies. However, bring your real customers online and talk with them, get the snippets and post it. And blast it on your website, on your emails, as well as on your socials, and see the change that deep dives. So, those are the stories to tune in, hang in, and, kind of adding the referral packages. Like, if you're someone who is bringing in today and you are ready to refer this particular product, we are giving away, let's say 20% off, or 25% off for the first year of your onboarding journey. Or maybe there are some additional free credits you could onboard, maybe the learning credits, maybe the the customer support that they are looking forward to. Well, the customer support is the most important aspect when somebody is building the early stage company. You have to talk about how human you are while providing the customer support. And if you could do that and deliver that, I think that is where the magic starts happening. You know, people love buying from the people. People love talking to people. People are not happy when the answering machine mode is on and they have to wait for almost 10 to 15 minutes to even just talk about a simple thing which is causing them a glitch and which is not available through your online support or FAQ section or your chatbots. I think that is where the magic starts happening. If you're providing a number to reach, I think you better have a human to answer on top of it. You could definitely automate a certain flow where you know where to categorize and which human representative to go on that particular call and decide and discuss. However, think about this in a way where how you can optimize that automation and bring the human touch forward, whether it's through email support that you're looking forward to, chatbot support you're looking forward to, or the phone call support that you're looking forward to. For the early stage companies, that becomes a very distinguishing handle. That, think about it, if somebody is mentioning that if you adopt to our product, we are the first one to answer in a human way for all your queries. We are the first human representatives to take your calls, and then discuss all the pain points that you're going through, or the support that you need to, or the services that you're looking for from us. I think that is a very different funda, and it's a very distinguishing advertising or the marketing kind of a way. However, the marketing way doesn't stop where you just market or just come visible. It has to complement or augment with an implementation of what your customer support looks like. And that's where I feel the Zappos is the company where you can buy online shoes, and they created a phenomenal distinguishing factor when somebody purchasing the shoes online, and Zappos went beyond that the customers could even think. They brought in so much of artistic as well as the human ways to make user comfortable from purchasing online goods and using them as a wearables. So think about this and find out in your product line what are some of the distinguishing customer support that you can add that can give you an extra edge, and that can also bring that trust that your users are looking forward to. And the third and an important tip that I like to add it when we have to talk about the common mistakes that to avoid is treating your first customer like a transaction. In fact, you should have your first customer as your relationship. Nurture those relationships. Talk to them as if they are your co creators and count on them as if they are your co partnering with whatever product that you're building in. And if you go on that lines and you really mean it, I think you will really unfold wonderful feedback loops where you have a wonderful friendly relationships, but at the same time a professional boundaries to maintain with your customers. And that's where the magic will, start rolling up. I like to highlight one example from my own podcast stories where I had covered Neha Narkere, the founder of a Confluent, and Apache Kafka is a data streaming platform, which was initially the open source platform where they converted the SaaS product out of it and they created a product where the consumers are paying for. Initially, June, Jay, and Neha, who actually built that Apache Kafka data streaming engine, was open source. And then, in order to scale up and in order to see, what they could build further as a product SaaS business, when I talked to her, I understood that she's absolutely obsessed with the consumer and the customer first mindset since the day one, and even today, when the company has become a $1 billion company. Even today, there are certain tickets that go from the founder and their board meetings, and they discusses that these are like some of the worthy notices to have, and some of the tickets that talks about certain features that doesn't exist or certain workflows that are not getting completed. Those are the ones that they absolutely highlight. They go and talk to those customers first handedly and understand where things are falling off. Well, that has, provided them an age of understanding or reshaping their products where the actually market is looking forward to. In fact, their story was even phenomenal because the product that they were building, there was no market that existed before. That particular product was so new that people were not sure whether should be paying that kind of a product. So the initial mission of their product was to not to create, the $1 billion company around it. However, it was to solve that technical problem on, how you really manage the real-time data streams efficiently at scale. And when they pivoted from that, open source project to commercial SaaS, the challenge became even more human and not technical. Exactly, how do you adopt these companies to trust and try this new way of handling this mission critical data streaming platform? So that's something was even a different challenge that some startups would have imagined. So every startup, every product, or every business owner, I know that they could have a very unique problems to solve, and while in the adoption journey they could face different challenges. However, what stays in common or the structural bones to that particular problem solving phase is just simply go ahead and talk to customers. Try and understand what is falling off from their trust. Listen to them deeply, ask questions that are giving you perspective of your user base, understanding the issues that needs to be fixed, or even the contribution where your, future clients can onboard on. Understand those pain points with the first handedly can give a tremendous edge for building this product. And the way somebody can build it with the first users even more surprising, because for the Confluent story, especially when I look at or when I had talked to Neha, she had mentioned that for our enterprise clients to not just to come on board, we did not even know that we could onboard enterprise clients, but we initially went on to the route where, with the open source softwares, we were talking to our early adopters who were using that open source product, and we treated them as partners. They worked really side by side with the engineering teams to customize certain integrations that didn't exist, to create certain APIs that people are looking forward to, on and hosted multiple workshops to make sure that every implementation that their customers are doing, it's succeeding, and they are making that workshop base available for the future adopters to educate them, and at the same time subtly advertising what they are doing and how this can massively give them the ripple effect of what in the data streaming a particular product could do. Every feedback ticket, every feature request became the part of their real time loop of the product improvement. Every weekly meetings, they had absolutely gone through those tickets in the early stages, and again, they basically did the weightage metrics exercise to figure out, like, where they should be focusing on the product, which lines to be unfolded, which ones should not be. And the early users were just not their customers, they felt like, they're co-creators. And the result, everyone knows that, the deep trust happened, the strong advocacy existed, and a platform that scaled with the love and loyalty, not just for the contracts with the enterprises. The enterprise customers onboarded much later. However, the initial open source and the product and the SaaS shaped journey that they were onboarding basically flourished because of the partners and not because of the transactions that they were doing. So, the lesson from this is absolutely listen, educate, collaborate, and make them feel the ownership in your journey. Because when your early users become your advocates, they are the ones, who can give you the priceless returns that you can even think about it. So spending that kind of a time as an early stage founder is your phenomenal way to shape your journey. Staying invested with your customers, still having the phone calls with them and talking about them, or once in a while just quarterly adding that touch point to see how they are doing, whether they are enjoying the product, whether they are enjoying what they are supposed to sign up for, or whatever the workflow that they were supposed to promise have fulfilled their on the way of their journey. So these are some of the ways that the early stage founders should absolutely be invested in spending the time and absolutely crafting their own calendars to, talk to these 10 customers this week, talk to these 5 customers this week. In fact, the lost or, the lost relationship with the customers, there are a lot of people who could, come and join as your alpha beta users, but later on don't convert. I think it is still a time, or, it is worth taking that kind of a time to go back and just adding that touch base point as the founders, not going from your help desk, not going from your the representative desk, but from your own desk, asking the simple questions on, whether we'd like to hear more from us, whether would you like to get invited for our future live workshops, or whether you're, someone who would like to talk about why you are not adopting our product. I think it's adding that kind of a touch point is worth doing. It can do many wonders. It could open up the feedback loop that exactly what you're looking forward to. The pain points that your product or your services are not solving today, but in future you should be accounting for them. So those are the points that you could unfold by adding that kind of a human touch. And think about selling instead of selling, just focusing on your customer success. That particular shift in your mindset can build the loyalty and advocacy from your existing customers. So when I went and talk about this concept with a couple of early stages that are onboarding, who are actually bootstrap, not even raise the capital, but have 25 customers today, and they're just about to reach their 1 million ARR by this quarter. I asked them, like, what is your success formula to build this kind of a company, which is again the AI mode, AI agent based company that they have, and they are doing a lot of things that the chat gpt you should not be asking for. So they are solving secret problems for the companies to span and read the documents. It's called as yavi.ai. I think we have talked about this Nimbus Next and yavi.ai in our prior episodes, where Swaraj, my friend who is hosting this particular company, have talked about, like, we always do one thing whenever they are onboarded, whenever the customer is onboarded, we have three touch base points. The first one, when they are onboarding, we tell them, like, this is what you could do in your pertaining to your use cases. This is how you should be using our product. The second thing is understanding how well they have used the product, what features they have used today, and what features they're just not touching it. Or, whatever is the the gap that exists. And the third and the most important feedback point that they go with is the after a quarter to gain and understand, are they still up to the mark, or they need to even need more support from them. So whether they need the customer support in terms of a training, in terms of unfolding what the product is and how massive these features are, and is it kind of helping them, on they're curating the small workshop for every individual user base in the company, whoever are using those products. There could be a different training that you need to onboard, but adding all those free credits as a part of your product mapping journey can add a wonderful inspection to your own product to see whether whatever that you have built is really useful or not, whatever that you are building is going to the perfection or no, or whatever that you're building is not that worth to scrap it all. So all of it will only come handy when your real users are talking about your real stories. So try to find a way and bridge the gaps, how you could build that bridge to help shape the real stories from your real product line, from your real service line. And if you're someone, who is stumbling upon that, what are some of the creative ways pertaining to my product, pertaining to my services, or in my own business, I should be, adding and seeing that, that gluey relationship, that the sticky sessions with your customers can happen. We are here to help. Just log on to passionatepulse.com and /contact and just, give us a call at 3412090102, and we can help you level up your marketing game. We can also help you provide you that customer strategies for building this kind of relationship that have worked for many of our own startups prior, and with which we are even doing the GTM wings today. So we can help you what has worked for others, what has not worked for others, and in your own problem space. If if you're struggling somewhere and you don't know where exactly your ACE card should be put in front as a customer success formula, we can absolutely help you setting up the technical platform for you, which can work for you. As well as we could also, figure out that this is a space and these are certain unique ways with which you should be highlighting your customer support, whether it's through our competitive study or the research or the analysis that we do, or just by looking at your unique product that it is serving to the market. We could absolutely help you unlock all those challenges. So if you're someone who is looking forward for that extended helping hand, or early stage founders and want to do some the budget based working, we are here to help you out. We can collaborate with you and we can check what needs to be done, how efficiently we could build, and how efficiently we could collaborate for your success, for shaping up your customers and converting your customers, which is a loyal customer base that one should have it. And this is one of the the no compromise card that every founder should be looking at. Your existing customers, retaining your existing customers can give you a long age in your business versus just by onboarding the new ones and just focusing on acquiring the new ones. If you look at the retainer base of the customer, which kind of helps you break down that fast and farming cycle, and that is the one that can add you the retainer revenue. So think about it in a financial sector as well, like, financial aspect as well. If you really have to draw your particular projections or the quarterly revenue, whatever it is, unless you have that retainer base with you, you will not be able to reach your heights in the of course, to gain the capital for your business further, as well as to move further and scale up your journey. Even though you are VC funded, even though you have raised the capital from your angel investors, or whoever it is, you have the capital. At the end of the day, you have to be at a place where you self generate your revenue, where you self generate your future capital. Otherwise, we have also seen the companies folding because they have just not met the right revenues and they're just unable to unlock that revenue stream. So it's a very critical factor, and it's a very critical stage to tweak your startup to scale up journey versus startup to fold up journey. So that is where the customers highlight, or the customer relationship, nurturing them in a various way can go way longer than you think about. Let us know how you are thinking about this episode. From this episode, what is that takeaway that you are driving from? And I like to give you a small challenge or an exercise if you are into this, the early stage founding journey. If you have any alpha beta users or, the so called acquired customers that are potentially are going to be your, the future paid customers or the loyal base, just do one thing, just either call them up directly or send them email or send them messages or send them simple, feedback talking about what they are looking forward from your product and how well they are using your existing product that is kind of going to them. Or if you are on a way or on a stage where you're about to build a product and with the landing pages, you have acquired your user base, ask them these questions on a timely basis that how long they can wait to get particular X feature in this particular product. And if they get it, what is the one magic wand that they can use in their own business with this particular feature or the particular product that they are using? Ask this question and let me know what feedback you receive. That will also provide you a practical insight on what you should be building, what you should be focusing, and where exactly your efforts should be, lying on. Asking just one question about either you know what you're building, and through that pivoting about, just imagine you have this particular feature in our product that is ready to use at an affordable cost or for free of cost for certain number of days or certain number of months. What is that your business is turning with this? And that is where you're gathering out and you're gathering information about how exactly your product, your services are going to change somebody's life, how somebody is going to thrive in their business or their consumer journey or whatever it is, whether it's a B2C, B2B product. But just try to see that, the gain that particular customer is going to get. And if you see that the people are really looking for that gain, I think it's time for you to focus at it in a very good way and then further nurture it out with the deep engagement and the responsiveness and the education that you have to build and trust about your services and product. I think that will go far, far ahead than just marketing the product in a single handed way. Marketing can get you the visibility, can bring you the initial adopters, but further journey is all about your own product, all about how you handle your customer relationships or you build on top of it. So treat your this early users as your collaborators, not just the revenue resources. And that attitude shift can open up multiple ways to scale you better with the human touch and can also get you more than what your automated support ticket can give you. So I think it is, one of the best tip I have shared on the Bootstrap Banter. If you're someone who is looking for more tips from Bootstrap Banter and would, help us understand where exactly your journey is falling off, which is the problem space where you need a little bit of a tips or education or an expert to deep dive and help you further level up your journey, we are here to help. Just write back to me at pranali@passionatepulse.com about what you like to hear next, what kind of tips you're looking forward in terms of shaping up your products. Are there any new platforms that you want to explore and figure out, how you can shape up your journey? Or you are someone who has a wonderful story to talk about and help our founders or the Capital Pulse listeners understand your journey challenges and your triumphs. We are here to help you and we are here to give you a mic. Do knock on to us at 341-209-0102. And I should also mention about the WhatsApp group that we have for the founders, for bootstrappers. Just fill out the form which is existing on the passionatepulse.com/join community. And that's where you can find out the particular form which you can fill up and join our live discussion forums on the WhatsApp groups where multiple founders are discussing and talking about their own pain points, sharing their resources, and also, sending that help out gesture that hey, this is something has worked out for us. What is that you're looking forward from it, and what is that resource or a particular forum that you could share. There are multiple talks that we do there where we are gathering small meetups where people either in person or online are gathering and even, opening up their way in that particular live sharing mode. So, if you're someone who is looking forward to bang with that kind of a community, who is looking forward to get support from other founders and looking forward to, who can understand your language and pain points, who is similar in who is in similar boat in yours. So, that's the community that we are talking about. Do join our WhatsApp group, bootstrappers. Just the requirement is you should be filling up the form, and only the real humans are allowed to be in that particular group, who are willing to share their resources, who are willing to discuss, who are willing to give someone a sounding board, as well as get the help from. So that's the bootstrappers WhatsApp group that we talk about. For any of your marketing GTM needs, or any of your, if you're someone who is now looking to raise your first capital from the VCs and looking forward to shape up the pitch decks that they need, shaping up a certain documentation which is helping you get that first paycheck from your VCs, then we are here to help you out and find out how this can fit you in a better way. Do give us a call at 34120900102. And before we sign up, I should again talk about one more customer story, which I can never forget, about the Figma, which is a tool that I, as a solutions architect, have used it very often when we were crafting our new solutions and when we were talking to the customers, is a Figma. Actually, the Figma story, the Dylan Field, the founder and his team, really spent years in private beta phase. It was like not the way today's startups that we are unfolding. Within a year, people are like launching from 0 to 1 and going forward with the customer adoption. But actually, the Figma is the company or the startup that spent years in private beta stage, where they actually personally onboarded a lot of design teams. They took real time feedback and even sat in the design sessions to see how people are actually using their tool that they're building, and then tweaking from there with the deep observations is what we see is the finished product that has built, that is fit naturally into the workflows and got adopted more. So if you have any of this kind of a story and would like to share it with our own founders club, we are here to help you. If you are someone who is like looking forward to join the founders WhatsApp group, do log on to passionatepulse.com/, join us, and join that particular WhatsApp group and find your own community of founders. Well, till then, stay passionate, stay focused on your customer relationship building, and if you're stumbling upon certain blocks, do give us a call at passionatepulse.com. If you have any other topic to discuss on this particular bootstrap banter, or if you have a founder story to open up on the Passionate Pulse podcast, we are here for you. Are you ready to amplify your voice and grow your business or a personal brand? Imagine reaching thousands of listeners, sharing your passion and making an impact, all through your very own podcast. Join our upcoming workshop, Podcasting 101, designed just for you. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a seasoned professional, or just passionate about sharing your own story, we will equip you with all the tools that you need to start your podcasting journey. Don't miss out. Visit passionatepulse.com/workshops and do secure your spot today. That's passionatepulse.com/workshops. Let's make your voice heard.